let it be like that. Hello everyone, and we have a good amount of people watching our live stream here. Welcome today, the end of May live stream. Today's live stream is just gonna kind of a review of what's going on up to this point for this month for May. I am gonna talk a little bit more of what I did last 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I just wanted to review with everyone, make sure everyone understand what's going on, everybody feels comfortable, and we can just get everyone up to date what's going on. So I'll give it a few more seconds for maybe a few more minutes for everyone to join us, for more people can join us today's live stream. So yeah, I hope everyone is doing good, doing great. And we look forward to starting this live stream. We try to do this live stream every month as much as possible, and every month we bring up important topics as far as like what we get from customers, as far as questions, doubts. They update us on a couple of projects that's going on. Yeah, it's excellent to kind of touch base with everyone through the video. So I'll go ahead and get started. Don't want to go too long on this video, but just to review everything that's going on. So, all right, without further ado, let's get started with today's live stream with Percpetion. So just to briefly catch everyone up through the events that we've been going through, we actually finished an event earlier this week, and we're actually in the middle of a current event out in Korea at this moment. We attended Unity in Seoul, Korea. That was for a 2-day event at the location there that they had it set up. We had actually 2 of our groups. We had our international team there, and we had our local team here from Miami attending that event. So if you had a chance to catch up to us, you were able to talk to a lot of the people that work or are involved with Percpetion, especially the one, our star here, which is Dr. Tristan Dai. All of you who remember him, he's one of the early founders of Neuron out in Beijing. He was one of the main developers behind behind Percpetion. So it was good to have him there at that event. He had roughly, I can guesstimate, maybe about 100, 200 attendees there just wanting to hear what he talked about. So it was good to catch up with everyone there and see everyone there out in Korea. If you caught us, said hi, excellent. So that was Unite Korea. And currently, as we are in the middle of KOBA in Korea. KOBA, as I mentioned before, it's like a broadcasting, if everyone's familiar with NAB, that takes place out in Las Vegas for broadcasting. We went to the KOBA show, which is the same type of show, except it's in Korea. A lot of important things out there regarding broadcasting, and we were showcasing Percpetion as far as live performance with FaceRig and also our partner iClone. And what I introduced last time, we're actually working with an app called Aquifer, which is a live stream app that feeds data into Unity as well. So you can get creative with a lot of live stream with RSuit and face tracking for your character. So that's KOBA Seoul in Korea. That one finishes on May 25th. So it's about to wrap up pretty soon. We're on May 23rd, so we have 2 more days to go. And then the next show that we're up is it's Annecy. That's in France. Okay, so if you're out in France, make sure to check us out there in that location. If you're looking to get tickets, reach us out through our email for support. We can try to arrange something for you to, just to say hi. We're looking into having a meetup there so we can connect with local users or anybody who's interested, wants to have a one-on-one talk. So that is Annecy. That's the website, and the dates are from June 10th to June 15th in Annecy, France. After that, as I mentioned before, we're going to be attending AT&T Shape out in California. That's in Warner Brothers Studios, Los Angeles, California. We're going to have a pretty medium booth there. fully fledged with a lot of technology that we're usually showcasing to our users. We're going to be showcasing real-time avatar tracking through an AR app. So that'll be fun. That'll be exceptionally fun. So just to review a couple of relationships, what I spoke last live stream, make sure you check out Aquifer. They're doing a newsletter sign up so that they can give you updates on their app that's coming up this month. Actually, in June, we're testing out the app in our current visits at the conferences, and we're having fun with it. We're able to track we're send the PN data into Unity, and then from their software, we're getting face tracking for a character. And it gives you, by far, one of the best quality of face tracking. And they're using a lot of, it's not just one-to-one, for example, tracking, but you can also have fun with different keyframe shapes, exaggerations you can add. So it's you can add a lot of functions to it. It's very animator friendly, if you will. It's just not, one-to-one what you're capturing the face, but you can add exaggerations and you can add clips, you can record clips, you can have a lot of fun with that. Feel free to email them to sign up for their updates. They're going to be showcasing or releasing their product next month. Move Shelf, don't forget about Move Shelf. We gave out a coupon code earlier this month. If you missed out, email us. Coupon code so you can sign up to their platform for free just to test it out. I think the coupon runs out the end of this month. We have a few more days left. And it's one of the platforms that we want to showcase to our users so that they can upload, share MOCAP data. What's a fun part about it is that you can see the animations from your phone on your computer. You don't necessarily have to have Access Neuron, don't have to have Maya, Motion Builder, etc. It's just a web app that allows you to see your motion cap data. Imagine sending that over to a director, producer, hey, this is what I recorded on the fly. If it gets approved, there you go. You don't have to waste anybody's time in installing software. Just give them the link, they can see it. If they like it, approved, on to the next job. So that's the kind of workflow that we like to see, and it's friendly with Percpetion Neuron. All you have to do is just export the data from Access Neuron to FBX or BVH, and then upload it through there. We actually have a link. So our link is moveshelf.com/Neuron-US. So you can check out some of our animations there that we've recorded. Don't forget about Notch, real-time visual effects, real-time effects for particle systems, and very, very close to like for motion graphics. We're actually going to be joining them out in Japan, Tokyo, where they're going to be doing a class for their software. And the class is just going to go through a 2-day workshop, boot camp of Notch and how to use Notch and how to implement different technology and how to use different nodes. It's a node-based software, and everything is real-time, which is really fun, which is what we like. So just going over briefly news. As I mentioned 2 videos ago in last video, we started off with a competition in 2016, Set Your World in Motion. We had a lot of contest entries. We had a lot of game and prizes, prizes for the top winners. And we had over $10,000 in prizes, hardware, money. It was a lot of, a lot of interest in it, and we had a great project come out of it. It was amazing, and with all the feedback that we got, we brought another competition back for 2019. Make sure you guys visit mocaplegopro.com, and you'll see this is the front page. We have information on signing up, information about the deadlines, entry. We're actually 1 week away from the deadline. We extended it another month so everyone has a chance. This is basically the timeline that we're looking at. As I mentioned, it'll be wrapping up next Friday. So we have just about just 1 week to finalize to submit your video. Going over the general rules, and it's straightforward, very simple. We're not trying to be sneaky or anything about it. Just general rules here. You must submit a 1 to 2 minute smart, fun, or just informative video pitching your project and showing or telling us how you will use Percpetion on motion capture system in an innovative, unique, or creative way. The more creative, the better. So it's simple as that. You can't get any more simple than that. Submit a 1 to 2 minute video. How are you going to use perception on motion capture suits? Be creative, be fun, think out of the box. No submission that you send is going to be incorrect. Everything you guys want to send is over. Go ahead and send it over to us. We'll have a look at it pretty soon. You have till next Friday. Very important, guys, till next Friday. You guys can use your phones. Every phone nowadays has a video app that you can just record, and anything is acceptable. So again, go to mocaplikeapro.com and you'll get information there, and just create an account, upload your file, and a brief description, and that's it. Simple as that. So going to the FAQ portion of this video, and again, I just want to go into just a quick update what's going on. After the FAQ, what I'm going through, I will go and touch base with everyone who's on this video and joining us for this live chat, and I'll answer some questions. So the FAQ is basically me just going over the recent questions that I've seen out there and a couple of doubts, and I just want to share them over with you as far as how to get you guys ready with the motion capture. So today's FAQ, first portion was going to be Perception on version 2 and Perception on version 1. Those two suits currently support hand tracking. So we've had a lot of questions where users have had trouble, getting the best capture for the fingers, possibly because the sensors are not tracking correctly, and there's a lot of factors that come into play, and I want to talk to you about what are the most important things that you need to know. Number one, of course, operate in a good location, away from computers, appliances, etc. like that. I'm going to be showcasing a single right arm setup, and I'm going to try to maintain away from the computer as much as possible. You might see me go touch the computer. Unfortunately, right now, I'm doing the video solo, so I would suggest you to do the setup with a partner, somebody to help you out so they can connect, do the calibration, etc. like that. I'm using a mouse. The mouse should not have any issues when you're touching with the sensors, totally fine. So going back to the slide, this is Perception on version 1 and 2. So you can see here is a dialogue of how to place the sensors on your hands. It's very hard to tell users whenever you have the glove on, because obviously you can't see what the placement is on the bones. So don't mind me, I'm just preparing so I can put the glove on my hand. And essentially you can see on the image here that in the fingers you want to put the sensors on the middle phalange. That is the knuckle, the second knuckle of the hand. You always want to make sure that the sensors don't move. There are sometimes that some users might have a really small hand and it might move, shake, you don't want that. You want the sensors to be as close as possible to the bone. As for the thumb, you have the proximal and distal phalange. Now, if I'm using the wrong terms here, please email me. I'll update this video. But this is the bones that you have to have the sensors on if you're using them on the bone. I also want to go over a couple of tips and tricks. So save this, guys. This is very important so you'll know where to place the sensor. Next thing is you want to keep in mind the measurement of your hand. You're going to use this measurement inside of Axis Neuron. The measurement of the hand is taken from the top of the middle finger all the way to the rotation of the wrist. Not the width, not how wide your palm is, but it's from top to bottom. Okay, that's what we're using inside of Axis Neuron. Once you have that information in palm sizing, you go into Axis Neuron, you go to the body size manager, select the profile that you're using, and then inside of the palm, you're going to enter the value in centimeters. For example, here you can see the 17 centimeters for a palm. That's using a standard size. All hands come in different shapes and sizes, so you definitely want to put the size for your hand, especially if you're using your hand movement, your hand gestures is very important. You want to make sure you have that there. Once that's done, you can select the body size again on the sensor map so that it can update, and then go ahead and do the calibration afterwards. So that's very important for the palm. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start setting up the single arm mode. And please ask any questions if you guys have any while I set up. For this example, I'm using single arm mode, okay? And I'm just putting the straps on my right arm, and then I'm putting the finger and palm glove on, okay? So I've already sized this glove as much as possible. And you know, the most important thing when I start from the top is I want to make sure the strap on the arm, and I'm hoping you guys can see this, is nice and secure, okay? And then now I'll go ahead and check the wrist. And actually, believe it or not, this is not the wrist sensor, this is actually the lower arm, so I'm correcting myself. The most important thing you want to have is you don't want to have this sensor move with the palm. This sensor here is supposed to track the lower arm, okay? So that is for the lower arm tracking. And then we have sensors on the palm here that's on the top. In the middle of the hand, you want to make sure that this sensor is not moving with the fingers. Right now it's moving ever so slightly because my palm is actually moving. Now if you have the sensor too high up forward to the finger, it's going to be moving with the fingers. You don't want that. You want it to be tracking your palm rotation, okay? So that's good to go. And then you can see I adjusting the sensors so that everything is centered. Okay, and bear with me 1 second. Let's make sure that this camera is working so you guys can see what I'm doing. My apologies for not checking that camera. Let's give it a few seconds to connect. Okay, so essentially I'm just checking that all the sensors are in the second knuckle of the hand. The thumb has an extra sensor, and the index finger has an extra sensor which is optional. You don't have to have it connected. So I'm checking here with my producer, make sure the camera is working. So it's working now. Okay, perfect, perfect. So now you guys can see how my setup is on my hand. Again, just making sure the palm, the lower arm sensor is not moving with the hand. The palm is not moving with the fingers. Okay, and then that's the placement of the fingers there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect the glove, the lower arm, onto a hub. Okay, I'm just using the Percpetion hub here. I'm connecting via USB and connecting through the data port. Okay, so I'm going to jump into Axis Neuron. So now you have Axis Neuron in front of us. Axis Neuron is meant for Percpetion version 2. And I'll go ahead and select the connect button. Okay, and I see that question from Sergio. Percpetion version 3, no word of that right now. We're focused on Percpetion version 2 and Percpetion Pro. Percpetion Pro does not have support for finger tracking. Only version 1 and version 2 of Percpetion does. So first thing I'll check is the sensor map. Everything's green. All my sensors are light up. I have single arm mode enabled. Body size, I'll go ahead and select my profile, which is male 165. This is male 165 centimeters in height. You can see everything is tracking pretty good. So I'll go ahead and initiate the calibration by clicking on the C. And it's asking me to do 3 poses: steady pose, A, or T, A and T pose. I like to personally do the steady pose by itself. The steady pose avoids me from moving the sensors before and after. So I'll go ahead and move my hand away from any objects here and just do the steady pose. All right, so that's done. And now I'm going to initiate the A TNS pose, okay? Very simple. Click next, A pose, T pose. All right, so there we go. Now we have the tracking for the fingers. I'll go ahead and try to zoom in a little bit more. And you can see it's tracking pretty darn good here. Now, the reason I'm able to get good tracking, number one, because I'm doing the palm size on the profile. I did the A TNS pose, sorry, the A and T pose correctly. I did the steady pose away from any magnetic interference objects. And most importantly, before these sensors have been maintained away from any magnetic interference, therefore they're not magnetized. If they were magnetized, for example, I was touching a keyboard, you will see issues with the fingers doing like a Terminator, or they just would have their mind of their own. In this case, you can see that they're tracking pretty darn good here, and there's no issues with the movement. So everything's looking good so far. If I wanted to do the MOCAP for full body and full finger, I'm good to go. Not a problem. So those are the tips and tricks I wanted to give you guys. Another thing I wanted to show you guys that you don't necessarily have to use all the sensors in the fingers. Most cases you can just use a really small setup, and the system, Access Neuron, picks up what the sensors are as long as you have a minimum mandatory sensors. Like the mandatory sensors that you need is the palm, for example, and the first sensor on the thumb. Everything else is pretty much optional. So let me go ahead and show you. What I'll do is I'll disconnect from the Access Neuron. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the sensors on the pinky and the ring finger, okay? All right, so this time I only have, on my hand, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sensors, okay? What's gonna happen if I hit connect, Access Neuron is gonna be reading my current setup on my gloves, and it's gonna adjust, it's gonna use a different algorithm to track the fingers. So you can see I'm moving my arm, I have that motion, moving my wrists, and I'm moving my thumb, moving my index finger, and check this out. If I move my middle finger, the middle finger is gonna control the ring and pinky finger, okay? There are sometimes in animation, you don't need the pinky movement unless you're doing a Dr. Evil animation. But most cases you won't have to do that, Dr. Evil. Just to save you from using so much sensors, unnecessary sensors for animation, just use a 5 sensor hand setup if you want, okay? So that's kind of a tip and trick. You can use all the sensors on the gloves, or you can just use a minimum setup on the hand. So that's a quick tip and trick for you guys to know. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of that, but if you have any questions, feel free to contact us and we can help you out with that. Okay. So one question here, why on one finger there is a black dot? So that means on the sensor map, if you're getting a black dot or a gray dot in the screen, that means that there's no sensor present. It just means that it's detecting the sensors. Green and yellow means that sensors is communicating to Access Neuron. Black dot means that there's no sensor present. You can see inside of the sensor map that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 sensors on the fingers and 1 sensor in the palm. Again, it's just they're using the glove as a different setup, not necessarily using all the sensors on the glove is required. Hope you work with Cinema 4D. Thank you for that suggestion. We're communicating with them, trying to see if we can work with them. That's all dependent on if we have somebody that can help us out, develop a plugin for that. At the moment right now, we don't support Cinema 4D. So that answer goes to Orange Show. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and hit disconnect. I hope everyone understood that portion. Again, just wrapping this area up, I'm going to the next FAQ for everyone to understand how to get the best MOCAP. We get a lot of questions like this, and my MOCAP is not working, my MOCAP is having issues. One of the most important things that you want to keep in mind before you're doing MOCAP, make sure the perception sensors are not magnetized. So if the sensors are magnetized, and no matter how you want to do the calibration over and over, they might not work. You're going to start seeing drifting behavior, which is not good. It's never ideal to get drifting. So number one, placement is very important. In regards to the hand placement, I already mentioned to you guys what is the proper placement for the gloves. For the body, as you can see here, we're showcasing Perception Neuron Pro, but the same concept applies to Perception Neuron version 1 and 2. You can see here the placement for the our performer here is done, almost symmetrical, if you will. And we also have the belt attached with the harness that goes under the hip, which is very important. The next important thing to get the best motion capture is the posture calibration. With Perception Neuron version 1 and 2, you have an extra step, which is steady pose. As I mentioned, I would suggest you do the steady pose separate from the ATNS pose. It just works much better because you clear out any bias data from the sensors and they'll work much better. Posture calibration, ATNS pose, and especially the steady pose, must be done in a location that's magnetic free. There are tools on your phone that you can download, a Magnetometer app, and there's another device that I'm currently testing. I'll bring that up later. That'll give you a general idea of what location is having issues for magnetic interference, and it gives you more or less a good idea where to start, which is very important. So with the environment, as I mentioned, it's very important to do your posture calibration in an ideal location. If you're doing next to studio lights, you're doing next to appliances, you're going to have issues. If you're doing next to a TV, you're also going to have issues. There's magnetic interference there, there's electrical devices present, and that's going to affect the sensors one way or another. I'm currently testing out, I've already suggested actually a Magnetometer app from your Android phone or your Mac app store. Most of those apps are free. Every measurement is done through microteslas. As I mentioned before, 30 microteslas more or less is the ideal value that you want. Anything above, anything lower, too low is not good. 30 microteslas is the ideal location. So I'm currently testing a device here, and it's from Cambridge Labs. It's a rechargeable EMF meter. Now the reason why I tested this one out is because it's very affordable. It's quite easy to obtain. You can see where I got this. I'm not going to mention names, but you can get this online, and I actually have it here. And this device here, it is fairly small, and when I look about it, is that it's like a little EMF, yeah, it's an EMF detector reader, and it's so easy to use. All I have to do is just press the power button, and then you'll just get instant readings there. Okay, so I guess the camera's having issues here. So this is the device that I'm using for the tracking of the environments. What I like about it, just gives you green, yellow, and red. If I go to the computer, I'm gonna get a red signal, and that's telling me that that's bad data essentially. So this is one device I'm currently testing. If it works good within all environments, I will recommend it to you guys, but just to kind of give you guys an update of what I'm using inside of the office, I always suggest the phone app. Sometimes the phone app is inconvenient because obviously it's your phone, but this device you can carry in your pocket, you can include it inside of your P&K, and it's very small and affordable. So that's that part. So before I close it out, guys, I just want to show you something that we picked up here in our office. This book here we got out in Japan. It's called the YouTuber 2018 list for all the YouTubers that are in Japan. You know what's fun about this book? There's so many different personalities here, different characters here, and you have a biography for every single character here. Everything from characters, avatars, girls, you name it. This is from Japan, YouTuber 2018. What's fun about this, little tip about this book is that, you know, some of these artists are actually using our suit, and we're so happy that they're using our suits, that they're implementing technology, live stream technology to animate their characters. Out of the top 10, I believe at least half of the guys are using the suit for their for the avatar. So this is 2018. 2019, I mean, who knows how many more are going to use the technology. Technology is moving pretty fast. We're happy to provide motion capture to users out there in Japan, and they are moving super fast as far as utilizing motion capture technology for live stream for audiences, and then you follow these characters, and it's amazing that they have a lifestyle out there. You can find so much in there out there. So yeah, that's just wanted to share that with you guys. That's it for now, I think, and definitely want to thank everyone out there who joined this video. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the questions before I wrap this video stream up, and thank you everyone who joined us. So going to the questions here. So the question from Sergio, can the sensors be demagnetized? Yes, they can. You can demagnetize the sensors. I'm going to jump ahead into Access Neuron, and what you'll see here, if you go to Tools, and you go to Calibrate Sensor, for this only works for Perception Neuron version 1 and version 2. To demagnetize the sensor, you're going to need a hub, you're going to need the prop tool cable, USB cable, and the sensor that you need to demagnetize. Sensors need to be demagnetized one by one. What I will do, Sergio, is I will bring up the topic on the next video, and I'll show you step by step on how to understand what is magnetized, what is not magnetized, and how to treat each sensor individually. I would suggest users to calibrate the sensors every month, or depending on the frequency of the usage of the sensors. It is just for, just a good workflow, so that whenever, say for example, you have an artist come in and you want to start motion capturing, you want to make sure you're ready to go. You're ready to run and gun and do the capture. You don't have to worry about anything else if you've done that already. So it's just a good rule of thumb just to calibrate the sensors every so often. Obviously, if you use a suit 3 times a week, 4 times a week, you increase the frequency of the sensor calibration. It's just to make sure the sensors don't accumulate bad data. Okay. So next question. The question from Susie, am I a panda? I am not a panda. So just to clarify that one. So, okay, thank you. I think I was hoping I could get more questions. If you know any Percpetion Neuron users, make sure they join us for these live streams. I do these live streams for everyone out there who's watching. And I always like to answer the questions. I usually see the same groups coming to us and asking questions. That's always awesome. We definitely want to increase the audience so that we can, we can discuss more, and we all can discuss different ideas and different usages, different issues, if anything like that, for that matter. One more thing too, guys. In the recent forum that and make sure you guys visit our forum. I'm jumping into my computer so you guys can see the forum that we have. If you have any questions there, feel free to post any topics out there. Make sure you guys keep the forums clean. No, nothing bad. If you have any ideas, any problems, feel free to post. We're answering questions as much as possible. The fastest way to get to us, honestly, is through our email, contact@neuronmocap.com. But forums are out there for everyone to use. I've recently seen a couple of forums out there where some users have had a really, really bad issue with the suits. Please share it, problems, issues. We want to hear what you guys are talking about that. And definitely discuss about that. And I answer them and try to help them out, clarify as much as possible. Whenever users have issues, typically, a lot of the general rules are overlooked as far as setting up proper usage, proper placement, environment. Those are typical culprits of if you're having issues. And especially if you're trying to do impossible motion capture, we can explain why. Percpetion uses IMU sensors. It is using magnetometer, accelerometer, gyroscope. Therefore, we're not using a camera-based tracking system. There's limitations for it, and the limitations don't make it mean it's not usable. But there's definitely more positive that outweighs with Percpetion. Whereas you can capture anywhere, you can capture freely. You don't need to have a big setup. I can capture motion capture on my own. No need to have a technical team. I can export that. I can have my own motion capture company if I want to do motion. Of course, if you're doing complicated moves like Cirque du Soleil, you're gonna have a couple of issues there. Obviously, because we're not using camera-based. For acrobatics, and if you're doing movements, that's gonna be a whole nother solution that will have to be used in that case. But if you have any questions, okay, I want to use it for this, I want to use it for that, feel free to email us and I can talk to you, set up a call or something, and just kind of teach you a little bit of how to use it, where to use it, when to use it, you name it. So just make sure you guys keep that in mind. Forums are out there for you. And I think that is all for today, guys. I want to thank everyone who joined us today. I know these videos could be short or long, and if we have more people out there, the better, more questions. So thank you. So one more thing, when I clone Percpetion session, I can bring up another topic next video about iClone for you, Hope 50, and we can discuss a little bit more. And if you want me to prepare anything for you, send me an email and just say, hey, I message you through YouTube. So this is, all these videos are based on every email that I get from users. So they're constantly evolving and they're new. Okay, so I don't want to keep you guys for too long. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope to see more of you, and then we'll keep you posted for the next upcoming events. Thank you and goodbye.